I don't welcome a currency that's so useful to kidnappers and extortionists and so forth. I think I should say modestly that I think the whole damn development is disgusting and contrary to the interests of civilization.
Contrary to the interests of civilization, Michael, it doesn't look like Munger is in any hurry to adopt the Bitcoin standard. What do you say to that?
I don't think that Charlie Munger is not qualified to opine on Bitcoin because he's 97. I think he's not qualified to opine on Bitcoin because he hasn't spent the time and the energy to understand how crypto asset networks work.
In this video, the billionaire and CEO of MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, speaks about Bitcoin and its increasing mainstream popularity, with institutional adoption increasing at an unprecedented rate and potential of government intervention to outlaw Bitcoin. Michael also addresses Charlie Munger's comments regarding Bitcoin and believes that he is not qualified in cryptocurrencies to opine on that. Michael Saylor also addresses the issue of anti-money laundering terrorism funding laws and Turkey's ban on cryptocurrencies. According to Saylor, what most people don't understand is that Bitcoin is a crypto asset and not a currency. Stay tuned if you want to know what Saylor believes will happen to all the currencies like dollar and China's renminbi in the future. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Wealthy Value, the community for people looking to become financially smarter. Make sure to subscribe to our weekly videos where we cover the future of business, innovation, and finance. Also, stick around till the end of this video where I will share a realistic Bitcoin price prediction for December 2021. Now, let's enjoy the video.
And I think that it's a mistake to think that any investor that's been successful in a particular field is thereby an expert in every other field that we can imagine. There's 1,000 fields that I'm not an expert in. So I don't know why people would, if you ask me my opinion on something in biometrics or in medicine, I wouldn't opine on that either. It's inappropriate. With regard to privacy, Bitcoin is not nearly as private as many other cryptocurrency networks like Zcash and Monero and the like. And we've seen just in the past few weeks that law enforcement is able to trace back transactions all the way through a decade. The entire blockchain is completely transparent and immutable, and every transaction that ever took place is traceable. So if anything, I think there's a consensus that's forming amongst regulators and law enforcement that Bitcoin is probably the safest and the most manageable of the crypto asset networks. And if there's any risk with regard to regulation in this regard, it's probably on some of the other crypto application and crypto asset networks because they actually have a much greater intent to promulgate privacy applications. I think that Bitcoin's mission is to be a crypto asset network. The idea is not to move money fast and privately. The idea of Bitcoin is to store $1 billion for 100 years securely. And the network and the architecture has been designed with that in mind. So as interest in, of course, this is something that you would know if you sat through 40 hours of lectures on crypto economics and crypto technology. But again, I don't think that Charlie Munger did. I have, and many other people in the crypto industry have. So as regulators become more interested in privacy, I think it's going to be a net benefit to Bitcoin because what you determine is Bitcoin is the crypto asset network that you want to support, that you can build a 21st century economy on, that does fit well within the regulatory framework and law enforcement frameworks of the Western world.
Well, I guess the bigger point that I'm trying to get to, Michael, is that Bitcoin to some degree has to be some kind of a threat to central banks, to governments, to treasuries. It's not likely that they're just going to give up control over their currencies. And there is this notion that they'll use this angle of anti-money laundering, terrorism funding laws as a way to crack down on it. We saw Turkey's central bank banning the use of cryptocurrencies, and then adding it to the list of companies affected under anti-money laundering and terrorism funding laws. And not too long ago, U.S. Treasury Secretary Yellen said that the misuse of cryptos like Bitcoin for terrorism is a growing problem, and that the National Defense Authorization Act requires to be updated with regards to money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism. Now, whether she's put in the 40, 50 hours of work to really understand what's going on or not is another matter. The question is, will they use this angle as a way to potentially crack down on Bitcoin?
I think that people that spend a few hours poking around in cryptocurrency, they oftentimes come forward with this observation that the cryptocurrency is a threat to a central bank and they have privacy concerns and the like. But it's generally only those that are spending a few hours. If you spend 100 hours or enough time to understand the situation, then you start to embrace a more sophisticated model, which is money can be decomposed into a currency component and an asset component. And these aren't really cryptocurrencies, they're crypto assets. And Bitcoin is a crypto asset, it's not a cryptocurrency. Currency is defined in the law as something you can exchange as a medium of exchange or in a transaction without incurring a tax obligation. So Bitcoin hasn't been a currency by law in the United States since 2014 when the IRS determined it to be property. Assets or digital assets like Bitcoin are a cornerstone for a 21st century economy and a force of good, and can be used as a force of good. And all regulators will state as a matter of fact, and because it's appropriate, that of course we have to make sure they fit into a regulatory environment and a framework so they're used for good and not by malefactors. So basically stating that we don't want something to be used as a currency because it threatens our currency is not the same as depriving people of an asset. And even the Turkish central bank hasn't deprived or hasn't limited Turkish citizens from owning the asset. So I think that it's very, very important to understand that the future of the world is 8 billion people with mobile wallets with a currency layer and an asset layer. And the currency is going to be the dollar and the euro or the Chinese yuan. And the asset layer is going to be Bitcoin and then whatever other assets you chose to hold in them. And the government's provenance, or the government will of course demand control of the currencies. And where you have strong governments like the EU and China and the US, they will have a strong currency and those currencies will be successful. And where you have weak governments like in Venezuela or Zimbabwe, you will see the currencies collapse. They will lose their currency privileges. The citizens in those countries will download stable coins that will either be the US dollar or the Chinese renminbi. And the underlying asset framework or asset protocol and network that we use to synchronize all of those wallets is going to be Bitcoin.
And there you have it, what Michael Saylor thinks about Bitcoin. Now, let's proceed towards a realistic price prediction for Bitcoin that is expected to be achieved in December 2021. This price prediction is made by Wallet Investor. According to Wallet Investor's technical analysis, Bitcoin is unlikely to reach the values of $100,000 plus by the end of this year. However, Wallet Investor believes that Bitcoin will hit a new all-time high before 2021 is out. Although it hasn't predicted the same sky-high values, but the platform expects the Bitcoin asset to reach an average price of around $80,000 in a year's time. For the end of December 2021, Wallet Investor has predicted the following minimum, average, and maximum Bitcoin prices. A minimum of $66,822.30, an average of $73,559.40, or the maximum of $80,740.20. Even the minimum Bitcoin prediction is over $10,000 higher than Bitcoin's current price, an encouraging prospect for investors who are worrying that the bull run is coming to an end. The lack of volatility on this graph is also good news. After a series of dips, peaks, and troughs that have seen Bitcoin's price change by thousands of dollars in the space of a few days, a smooth bull run would be a welcome contrast. But remember that these forecasts are overwhelmingly bullish, with nothing to suggest that the Bitcoin's performance will continue to follow the same path, or not. And that brings us to the end of today's video. What are your thoughts about the future of Bitcoin? Is the bull run over, or not? Tell us in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.